Guys, I just learned something today. I was at a different thrift store. I was talking to somebody there and the people that work there. Anyway, I found out something that Goodwill is doing that I didn't know about. Now, I did not find this out from somebody that works at Goodwill. I found it out from somebody that works at another thrift store. And they're into games and stuff like that. Goodwill is now taking the games from the stores that get donated by you guys. So when you donate stuff to Goodwill, they are a profit company, and don't let them tell you otherwise. They give you a little slip that says you can write it down as a tax deduction, but they are for profit. They're trying to, even if, let's just say they're not for profit, they are trying to make the maximum amount of money that they can out of your donated goods. For whatever reason, they're trying to do that. And the CEOs of each chapter get paid a very handsome salary. I don't know the exact numbers offhand because I don't have that information in front of me. I can't quote it to you. But Goodwill has particular stores that sell nothing but video games and video consoles now. Now, I knew in Eugene, Oregon, they had a computer store. And it was like walking into Best Buy the way they were acting. But it was people's old crap that, you know, was junk. And you'd swear to God you were talking to a Best Buy salesman. So now they have game stores, storefronts. There's a bunch of websites, video gaming, Goodwill, something or other. I mean, I can pull them up here and show you, but I don't know if anybody's aware of this. I wanted to bring it up. So there's certain people that I know that have ties to the store that would go there and they would buy games. And this particular one I live near would get like a lot of games, probably hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 per month. And so there was 3 or 4 people that would go to this store on a regular basis, and they knew exactly what time the guy would come out to bring the books out, which is media and books. They would sit there and they would wait, and then sometimes they'd fight over it. But there would literally be like at least 10 different games every time that the guy would put the stuff out. And so if you weren't in the store when this was happening, you would come in there randomly at some other time and you'd say, well, they never have any games. Well, that's not true. They have tons of games, but they have these people that sit in the store and they buy all the games. They grab them before they even hit the shelf. The one guy, you know, and myself too, we would go there, we'd grab the games off of the thing, and we'd look through them, and if there was some we wanted, we'd put them in our cart, and then we'd put the rest of them on the shelf. And so you would have no idea that these games existed. So, I mean, I've been in there before and bought like $100 worth of games one time. They were all like $2 games. Yeah, I bought that many PS3 games one time. And then all of a sudden, the one guy that was working, he quit working, and then all of a sudden, no games came out, or maybe every once in a while. And then we got this other guy, and I caught him doing a couple of sneaky things. Like, he put the games out early in the morning, and they had yesterday's date on them. And if you know anything about Goodwill, it's immediate grounds for being fired if you're holding stuff. You can't hold stuff from the previous day. Once it's priced and when it's all done, it has to go out on the floor. It can't be held or hidden in the back so that you can put it out at 8 o'clock in the morning so that your friend can come get it. And I went in there and I had been at the store because I live very close. I had been at the store at nighttime, 10 minutes before closing. I walked my rounds, I checked everything. I didn't see anything I needed. I went back the next day, first thing in the morning when they opened. I was maybe there at 8:05. And that's because I stood out front and talked to one of the managers for 5 minutes before I went in there. And I went in there, and there was like a stack of games. I'm serious, like, I would say there was, like, I don't know. I've got a picture of it. I can put a thumbnail in here and show you how many I found. But what was interesting was I opened them all up, and they all had more than one disc in them. And there was like Call of Duty in a metal tin, and it had like other versions of Call of Duty in there, and it was all like cherry picked. Because the stuff that we see come out there is always scratched and fucked up. It's always sports games and stuff that nobody wants. And these were all Xbox One games, PS4 games, in perfect shape, extra games in the cases, and they all had the previous day's date on them. Now, I was sitting in the store, and the manager saw me with the cart and I was sitting in the store on one of the couches, and the manager saw all the games I had, and she goes, "Oh, wow, that's a lot of games." I said, "Yeah, don't know how they popped up, but I said I haven't seen this many games in a long time." And she immediately started to defend this situation, saying, "Oh, some customer must have hid those in the store." And so, I like to argue, so I'm like, if I know somebody's wrong, I immediately tell them they're wrong. That's always how I've been. I said, "No, there's no way." I said, that many games would never get hidden by a customer and organized on the shelf at 8 o'clock in the morning. They would never last in this store. And she argued with me about it, and then after that point on, she's been a bitch to me, and rude, and disrespectful. And then other times, I made videos too about the prices that are stupid at that store, and she's indirectly accused me of making videos and calling them dumbasses. And I just said, whatever, So they don't like me there because I film shit in the store sometimes. But I finally figured out, I think the guy was not necessarily stealing games, but he was stashing games, because they're trying to sell all the games online. And he's trying to hoard a few games here and there and put them out for his buddies. So, but definitely, for sure, Goodwill has several stores and websites specifically just for gaming. And I'm not talking about shopgoodwill.com, but like there's some other thing called Goodwill Grid or something like that, and a bunch of other stuff. And this company must be owned by the government or something, because like I've never seen anything operated and owned and like Goodwill. It's like that of like it must be run by some shady politician. That's kind of what I think. Like, I don't really think this company is owned by like this one person or this one corporation. I think it has ties to government stuff. That's just my theory. But they are non-profit, and they pay their CEOs a profitable wage, like above and beyond. Like the CEO of each area, and probably, I don't know what you would call underneath the CEOs, they're getting paid more than somebody that's a CEO of Home Depot. Now, how is that fucking possible? This is a non-profit company, supposedly. So, now non-profit doesn't mean that you don't make a profit. It just means that they have some kind of fucking business model where it's supposed to be this and that, and they're filing everything under, whatever that 801c or whatever the frickin' hell. Who cares? Everybody that goes to Goodwill on a regular basis, we know how this shit works, and it's pretty obvious that the people that work there on the lowest level are greedy as fuck, and they're being told to do this shit. There is a chain of command where shit runs downhill, and orders are being barked, people are being chewed up and spit out and fired. And if you don't put the prices that they want on the stuff, you won't be working there. If you don't meet the quota, the numbers, they will get rid of you. And my personal opinion is that most of the people that are willing to put up with that kind of behavior, that work in an environment where you're dealing with small items, miscellaneous electronics, they're stealing from the company because they know what the company's doing. They don't like the company. And a lot of people that have employment at Goodwill are not exactly where they want to be in life. I don't know how to put this. A lot of them are in recovery. Some of them have gotten out of prison. I mean, I see these guys all the time. I'm like, I know that guy just got out of prison, and that guy there, and that guy there. I mean, because I can spot it, And me, the average person, can't, but I can. And I've been right about every single fucking one of them at my local store. That I've figured out every single one of them that I thought was, that worked there long enough, I got to know them and found out that they've all been to prison. So, And I appreciate the fact that some of these guys have turned their lives around. But, you know, there's also these dead-end beat, you know, people that end up working there, and that's just the best they can ever fucking do. And their life is built upon a bunch of lies and bullshit, and they steal stuff every day from the company, and that's just what they do. And that's as good as it's going to get for them. And then there's people with mental health issues that work there, and Goodwill really does take advantage of them. There's a, you know, I've seen people working there with disabilities, and they don't care. They run them into the ground and they fucking fire them. They're not like, well, reasonable accommodation. No, we're firing you because, you know, we don't care. Oh, you have special needs? Well, tough shit. And Goodwill charges you for the plastic bags. They ask you to round up the change for their career center. I live in the Prescott area. We don't have a fucking career center. They shut it down. But every time I go to that register, that's about 9 out of 10 times they're going to ask me, do you want to donate to the career center to help empower people, blah, blah, blah. There's no fucking career center. You shouldn't be allowed to fucking ask me to donate to the career center. How do I know that money's going to the career center? Well, it's going to the career center some fucking place else, not my community. And why do I gotta pay for a fucking plastic bag? You're selling shit that was donated to you for free by people who think they're doing something charitable for their community. Now, we have the other types of people too. They're just there to dump their fucking garbage. And Goodwill gets what they fucking get. You know, I laugh about it. It's like, well, you gotta take the good with the bad, guys. You're getting everybody's free shit, you're also gonna get everybody's free garbage. And so, you know, a lot of people, they just bring junk there, and Goodwill has to, you can see them all day, they're busy putting shit in that dumpster. I mean, it's nonstop. But what a hell of a fucking company. I mean, like, their business model is working really, really good for them, because, and they're constantly opening new stores all over the fucking place. And, you know, I've been doing this quite a while, like, I don't know how many years. I've been going to thrift stores for like 20 fucking years. Something like that. I've been going to thrift stores in California, Oregon, and Arizona. You know, it's about it. I don't think I've ever stepped into one in Utah or Nevada, but they're pretty much the same kind of people in all the stores. There's the people that think that they're resellers, and you know, it's pretty rare that anybody really can do it on a scale large enough to make it worth the while. It's a hobby or a mental health thing, or it's the thrill of like, what can you find? And for me, because they're so aggressive with their pricing, it's the thrill of what can I find that I want that they don't know what it is, and they didn't price it out of the fucking roof. And so every once in a while I find some ham radio stuff, and they didn't know what it was, you know, and they just put like, you know, a reasonable price on it. But the problem is that they are told that they need to look this stuff up. They need to know what it is. You know, like, they get all these donated old fucking shitty-ass hand tools, like, you know, 12-volt DeWalt's, 12-volt Ryobis, 12-volt Black & Decker drills. You know, we're not talking like the latest 20-volt shit. I mean, it does show up. And, like, depending on what it is, they price it differently. It's not like a drill is a drill. You know, if they think that it's something worth money, then they double the price. Now, their motto was supposed to be that their prices are basically 1/3 of retail. And what they do is they look it up on eBay usually. Depends on who's working. They don't have like a way that they tell them to do it, but a lot of them will take their phone and scan each thing in the back, their own personal phone on company time. They'll scan each thing, they'll look it up, and they'll look it up on eBay using Google Lens or something like that. And they'll get the prices, and Google Lens, if you use it a lot, if you're a reseller or you do like I do, thrifting, it gets it wrong a lot with an item that looks the same, and it might be the most expensive one, but it's not, and the one you're actually looking at is the lower model. They don't spend a lot of time trying to figure that out. And so they just go, oh, okay, well, this thing pulled up as this, and that's $500, so we're going to put $200 on it. And they always try and get their numbers really, really high so they can be done for the fucking day, so they meet their quota. And They brag about it, and it's a competition. It's a game that they play. And it's really sad. And all they're doing is making the company rich, and they don't get compensated for it. They don't get a bonus. The store manager gets a bonus depending on what the store's sales are. But, Joe Blow in electronics, the manager might give him a verbal, hey, you're doing really good. You did great. Our sales are up. But he's not going to get a bonus. He's not going to get an attaboy or even a Walmart pin, So, which, by the way, I seen they have a greeter at the door at the Goodwill now. I was giving him a hard time. I said, dude, you're working your way to Walmart, aren't you? 2 days in a row, I've seen this guy sitting there in a chair at the Walmart, at the Goodwill. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a new thing they're going to start doing, having a Goodwill greeter at the door. He's sitting in a chair, and he's clearly not there to stop anybody from shoplifting or anything like that. But anyway, this company's pretty wild, guys. I mean, it really is. Now, a lot of you guys will tell me, well, my store where I live is horrible. Well, the reason that my store is good is because I'm in northern Arizona, where everybody from California wants to move. And they're old, and they die, and their shit gets donated left and right all the fucking time. So if you live in an area that doesn't have a lot of old people dying, you're not going to see a lot of stuff in your store. And if you live in an area where everybody's at the poverty level, you're not going to see a lot of stuff in the store, So here, we have so many people that move here to Prescott that they've sold their house in California. They bought, it's not cheap to live here, okay? It's very expensive. And in fact, it's more expensive to live here than it is in Washington State, where I am originally from. And everybody used to say Arizona was cheaper, but when I first got here in 2017, I immediately noticed that trucks and everything like that, and cars and all used stuff, were not. And what I encountered back then was a bunch of greedy local people that wanted a lot of money for used stuff. They would try and sell you the free Harbor Freight meter for $10. A little digital meter you got with your coupon before that went away. And then you had the California people. So you had these locals that were really ghetto. They really were. Assuming most of them were local. This particular place, there's not a lot of people that are local to the area. There's a few families that have been here a couple hundred years, and they control the local politics. But outside of that, they've pretty much pushed all of the people out that may have grown up here and lived here. And so you have a demographic of people that aren't from here. And you have people that are just struggling to get by. You have all the old people that are retired here. There's even celebrities and shit like that. And, And so this area has a specific demographic that you're not going to have in your area. It's just how it is. And so, like Andrew says, that, this is a gold mine over here. It's a cash cow. But the problem is they know it. And so they're going to try and get as much as they can out of it. But still, usually, even with the crazy prices, they're still about half of what it would be new. So you have to make the choice to decide, is it worth half? Can I just buy it used on eBay or something? Most of the time, when I really need something, it's going to get bought on Amazon or something like that. And in fact, I don't go to the store very often anymore because it's a waste of my fucking time. The big box stores, what is there? If they don't have it at Walmart, I'm not buying it. So, and if it costs almost as much at Walmart, like for example Goodwill, they put out jeans. I'll look for older used Levi's and Wrangler jeans and stuff like that. But look, there's Wranglers and there's Rustlers. They're the same company. If you're going to put a used pair of Rustler jeans out for $20, and I can go over to Walmart and buy those jeans brand new for $13 and some change, why in the fuck would I pay $20 for a used pair of jeans? So, as thrifty as I try to be and good to the environment as I try to be, there's no way can I buy used jeans at the Goodwill. They're not $5, they're not $10, they're usually like between $12 and $20 for a pair of Levi's, Wranglers, Rustlers, Faded Glory, whatever the hell. And all of those jeans are available, other than the Levi's, for under $20 brand new. And so you'd be dumb to buy a used pair of Wrangler jeans. I had one manager tell me, "Oh, well, they're vintage and they're better. They're made better than the new ones." Well, that might be true, but still, look. You want me to pay $20 for a used pair of Wranglers that are not blue anymore? They're faded out. I don't want my jeans faded. I want my jeans blue, and I want them fucking dark blue. You know, somebody else has already worn holes in them. Yeah, no, I don't want that. Oh, whether you don't have spandex. Well, yeah, then you don't buy the Wranglers because they have spandex crap in them. That's why I buy Rustler jeans. I mean, you know, they're dark blue, they're thick, and they don't have spandex. And they're like 13 bucks. And these guys put them for $20 at the Goodwill. It's like nuts. T-shirts, 5, 6, 7 bucks. No. I go buy black T-shirts from like either Joann Fabric or Walmart, where they have the ones that you would maybe use to print. Black, plain, gilded T-shirts. They're like $3.99 brand new. Sometimes even less. Why the hell would I pay Goodwill $6 for a used fucking shirt? You gotta be crazy. So, and underwear I don't do used. Sorry. Underwear and socks, I mean, I don't give a shit how poor you are. Buy that shit new. Used shoes, they want like $20 for anything that's nice. $29, $20. I found a few that were, you know, good. I bought some cowboy boots there, bought some Ariat boots, but they were $39. I'm like, yeah, they're almost new, but they're $39. All the cowboy boots that get donated, $39. $39. Unless they're crap. I've seen ones $29 and the heel was coming off of them. You know? And Goodwill is nuts. That's the point of this video. Goodwill is nuts. If you're not aware of what they're doing and you're just a casual shopper, this is all going to be news to you. But, you know, and some of this will be news to you even if you're a regular shopper. But, yeah, they're out there to get after it, man, and they are. And people are like, "Oh, they're charitable. They're helping my community." No, they're not. They're exploiting people. They're exploiting your stuff, and they're making a ton of fucking money, and they're not giving back to the community. They might be giving some convicts a fucking job here and there, and helping some people that couldn't get hired otherwise, but not where I live. They don't have a career center, so you know they don't give a shit. And if you can't do your job, they don't give a shit. If you're sick, they don't give a shit. I had one guy, he was in the store coughing and hacking. I was like, "Why don't you go home, dude? You're sick." "I can't. They'll fire me." Oh, okay. Well, so that's kind of how they are. And I talked to a bunch of people that had worked there for years, and they now work at like Walmart and different places. And one guy, he's like, "I had no idea how bad I was being treated for 9 years that I worked at Goodwill until I quit. And I realized that I just got used to it. And they treated me like I was less than human." And it's like, wow. And so this all comes down from the top. You know, the top. I watch these guys work the ranks and how they change in their behavior, you know. They go from being a nice guy to a fucking asshole that doesn't care about anybody. And it's sad. So, anyway, guys, that's the short and skinny on it on Goodwill. Maybe the short and long on it. I don't know. But I just think that, you know, people should be more aware of what that company is about and what they do. And I think that, like, if you have the opportunity to donate to another thrift store, like in my area, Stepping Stones, the disabled veterans, we don't have any Value Village or St. Vincent de Paul here that I'm aware of, but if you have an opportunity to donate to some other company, donate to some other company, because this company is not here to help your local community, okay? And I'll just end it with that. Thanks for watching.